Let us discuss today's important news. Rishikonda got back its blue flag certification. Rishikonda beach's blue flag certification got restored. Vishakhapatnam's Rishikonda beach is back in news for a good reason. The beach is proudly waving its blue flag once more. The beach has regained its prestigious certification, marking the ending of temporary suspension of blue flag certificate. For locals and tourists, this means Rishikonda is now again one of the cleanest beaches. The criteria for blue flag certification: environmental education and awareness, quality of bathing water, environmental management, conservation and safety services on the beaches. The Blue Flag program was initially initiated in France in 1985, aiming to recognize environmentally responsible beaches. A non-profit organization, the Foundation for Environmental Education, awards the certification. The Foundation for Environmental Education awards the certification. To attain the Blue Flag certification, beaches must adhere rigorous requirements with respect to environmental awareness, quality of beaches, sanitation, environmental management, conservation and safety measures on the beaches. All these things they have to go with, particularly environmental sustainability, environmental education and safety. The Blue Flag certification is accorded by the international jury, which comprises members from the United Nations Environmental Programme UNEP, IUCN International Union for Conservation of Nature, UN World Tourism Organization, and Denmark-based NGO foundation, that is Foundation for Environmental Education. In India, there are many blue flag beaches: Golden Beach, Odisha; Shivrajpur Beach, Gujarat; Kappad Beach, Kerala; Gogla Beach, Diu; Radhanagar Beach, Andaman Nicobar; Kasarkod Beach, Karnataka; Padubidri Beach, Karnataka; now Rishikonda in Andhra Pradesh; Kovalam Beach in Tamil Nadu; Eden Beach, Puducherry; Minikoi Beach, Lakshadweep; Kadmat Beach, Lakshadweep. So, earlier it was revoked, again it was restored for Rishikonda. Coming back, the other important news: Maharashtra State Assembly passed a resolution for Bharat Ratna for Jyotiba Phule and Savitribai Phule. In a significant development, the Maharashtra State Assembly passed a resolution unanimously requesting the central government to confer Bharat Ratna, the highest civilian award, honor to the social reformers Mahatma Jyotiba Phule and his wife Savitribai Phule. The Phule couple had worked extensively towards female education and empowerment. You all know Jyotiba Phule started Truth Seeker Society, Satya Sodak Samaj, and he also wrote a book, Gulamgiri. He was a social reformer from Maharashtra. He is famously called as Mahatma. And his wife Savitribai Phule, she was considered the first female teacher in India. In spite of all the arts, she spearheaded women education in Maharashtra. Not only that, both husband and wife, Savitribai Phule and Jyotiba Phule, both have worked for women reforms, social reforms, etc. For that reason, the Maharashtra State Assembly have passed a resolution that they should get Bharat Ratna posthumously. They should get Bharat Ratna. It's a very important thing that we need to note it down. Next, India to conduct joint naval exercise, IKMA, with 10 African countries. For the first time, with the 10 African countries, we are going to have joint naval exercise, AIKEYME. Okay, Africa India Key Maritime Engagement. IKMA means Africa India Key Maritime Engagement. India will now for the first time conduct a major naval exercise called IKMA, Africa India Key Maritime Engagement, IKMA, with 10 African countries as part of continuing military outreach to the African continent, where China has made strategic inroads. Even India is keeping a close eye with respect to various countries with respect to maritime exercise. This is the first time India is doing maritime exercise with 10 African countries. The multi-nation IKMA exercise, Africa India Key Maritime Engagement, will be conducted off Darussalam in Tanzania from April 13th to April 18th. So, it's a big exercise. The 10 countries are Tanzania, Comoros, Djibouti, Eritrea, Kenya, Madagascar, Mauritius, Mozambique, Seychelles and South Africa. So very important thing, as you all know, India is promoting Sagar, security and growth for all in the region, particularly focusing on Indian Ocean region and also Indian Ocean Rim Association. And most importantly, IOS Sagar. The Navy, Indian Navy in the next month, that is April, going to launch another maiden initiative called IOS Sagar, Indian Ocean Ship Sagar, under which a combined crew of Indian sailors and 44 personnel from 9 friendly foreign countries, they are going to actually do exercise in INS Sunanya during the deployment of Southwest Indian Ocean region from April 5th to May 8th. So even this is a big news that IOS Sagar, Indian Ocean Ship Sagar is coming up, where sailors of India, sailors from other friendly nations, almost 9 friendly nations, they are all going for an offshore patrol vessel, INS Sunayana. INS Sunayana. Okay, you have to remember this name. Recently, there is a news about Somali pirates and Houthi rebels in the region. So, with respect to this, these joint naval exercises are crucial and important. Somali pirates and also Houthi rebels. And the other news coming up from Donald Trump. Donald Trump announced 25% tariffs on the countries which purchases Venezuelan oil. In a move that could actually stir up global energy market, American President Donald Trump said that the countries that buy gas and oil from Venezuela would pay 25% tariffs on any trade made with the US. The move could trigger higher levies on goods from India and China, which are Venezuela's 2 biggest oil players. Trump said that the tariffs will come into effect on April 2nd, on the same day when reciprocal tariffs on the US trading partners, including India, are set to be imposed unless American president changes his mindset. So very difficult, very difficult. So Venezuela exported 6,60,000 barrels of crude oil a day, with India, China and Spain emerging as top buyers. Venezuela is one of the top oil exporters. India, China, Spain, other countries purchases oil from Venezuela. Trump announced that whoever purchases gas and oil from Venezuela, they are going to have 25% tariffs. So this is a big thing, big announcement from Donald Trump. And next interesting news that is coming up, the Standing Committee on Agriculture, that is a parliamentary committee, recommends a scheme to promote top 3 fruits, vegetables in each state from India. The Standing Committee on Agriculture, Animal Husbandry and Food Processing has recommended framing a scheme to promote top 3 fruits and vegetables in each state, a move to strengthen the food processing sector. The parliamentary committee suggests conducting a detailed study and utilizing the country's food map to identify the top 3 fruits and vegetables produced in each state to achieve the desired growth of the food processing sector. So, identifying the top 3 fruits and vegetables produced in each state, promoting them and connecting with them with the food processing, so that our food exports will also grow. Our fruit and vegetable exports will also grow. The committee also recommended the creation of sub-scheme under One District, One Product initiative to promote top 3 fruits and vegetables. The union government have created One District, One Product to promote products from each district. The scheme identifies district brands and also helps with the products development, packaging, branding and sales improvement. So, this is the most important thing which we need to understand. And production linked incentive scheme for food processing industries, this is also an important scheme which we need to focus on. And more importantly, Indian food processing sector needs to grow in a big way. Still, we are in languishing condition, our food processing sector. Though we are producing vegetables and fruits in a huge number, in a big number, we could not actually process them properly, as Indian food processing sector is comparatively, if you go to America and other developed countries, there most of the food is processed food and their food processing sector is doing good, very good. But in India, most of the food we are producing is perishable, but still we are not focusing much on food processing. So, identify the best fruits and vegetables in each state and then promote food processing also. This is the idea given by the parliamentary committee, that is Standing Committee on Agriculture, Animal Husbandry and Food Processing. Coming back, the next big news in the world very soon, next year or by 2027 is China might invade Taiwan. China might invade Taiwan, American report says. Chinese President Xi Jinping decade-long campaign to end the corruption in Chinese People Liberation Army is meant to ensure that the military is modernized and prepared to invade Taiwan by 2027, according to the US intelligence report made public last week, that is March 3rd week. The report released by the Office of the Director of the National Intelligence America, titled Wealth and Corrupt Activities of the Leadership of All the Chinese Communist Party, states that up to 65% of the government officials in China accept bribes and engage in grafts. Up to 65% of the government officials in China take bribes. This is a report given by America. Xi Jinping launched a sweeping anti-corruption campaign in China when he came to power in 2012. Since then, nearly 5 million government officials in China at all levels are found guilty of, almost 50 lakh government officials in China from last 13 years are found guilty of corruption charges. And now, Chinese government is very strict against corrupt officials, particularly military corrupt officials. And Chinese government is going to launch an attack on Taiwan, occupy Taiwan by 2027. So, Xi Jinping is focusing on corruption and he wanted to acquire the capabilities and make his military ready to occupy Taiwan by 2027. So, this is a big news we need to understand. Next important news. India proposes to abolish digital tax on online advertisements, aimed at showing an accommodative stance to the America, which has threatened to introduce reciprocal tariffs from April 2nd. India proposed to abolish the equalization levy or digital tax on online advertisements as part of 59 amendments to the Finance Bill 2025. While Government of India has already abolished the 2% equalization levy on e-commerce transactions last year, the 6% levy on online advertisement services, which was imposed on June 1st, 2016, continues. Now, Government of India proposes to abolish digital tax on online ads to appease America. Coming back, Delhi Assembly goes paperless with budget app iPads for MLAs. The Delhi Assembly took a step towards digital efficiency, providing iPads to the legislators and making budget 2025-2026 documents accessible through the Delhi Budget application app, that is Delhi Budget app. So, the announcement made by the speaker was welcomed by the entire assembly, and particularly in order to minimize the cost and maximize the digital use, Delhi Assembly is preparing to introduce iPads for MLAs and paperless transactions. The CAG report recently highlighted that the Delhi Transport Corporation and other Delhi offices are facing financial losses. So, we have to meet out the losses by making cost-effective moves. This is also an important thing. Next important thing, China's People's Liberation Army deploys AI tool DeepSeek in military hospitals, non-combat functions. So, China's model of generative artificial intelligence, that is DeepSeek, is being deployed in military hospitals, non-combat functions. China's People's Liberation Army has started using the recently released Chinese AI tool DeepSeek for non-combat support functions, especially in military hospitals, to assist the doctors in devising treatment plans besides other civilian areas. China's media is telling this. So, DeepSeek is being introduced in military hospitals and non-combat functions. DeepSeek's open source large language models are being used in PLA hospitals, that is People's Liberation Army hospitals. So, China's DeepSeek is in news. DeepSeek is in news. And the other big news that is coming up, world's first 3D printing railway station to be built in just 6 hours. World's first 3D printing railway station to be built in just 6 hours. 3D printing architecture is now becoming very famous, and Walmart, construction of houses, even data centers. The latest example with respect to 3D printing is coming from Japan, where a new train station, railway station, will be built in just 6 hours. In Japan, the world's first 3D printing railway station is being built in 6 hours. To be clear, Hatsushima station in Japan is now going to have a railway station built with 3D printing technology. It will have a height of 2.6 meters, a width of 6.3 meters and a depth of 2.1 meters. And the building's exteriors will also be very good with good finishing and other decorations. So it won't look like it's a temporary 3D printing structure. It will be like very good structure in Japan. The world's first 3D printing train station or railway station is being constructed at Japan in 6 hours, just 6 hours. Next interesting news that is coming up. IIT Guwahati is developing artificial intelligence powered robots for border surveillance. Indian Army is conducting field trials with respect to that. Indian Institute of Technology Guwahati researchers have developed advanced robots to guard international borders, offering artificial intelligence powered surveillance and uninterrupted real-time monitoring of our borders. The Indian Army is already conducting field trials for the AI robot surveillance system. So, borders in future will be guarded by AI robots. Borders in future will be guarded by AI robots. The robots were developed by DSRL, Das Spatio Robotic Laboratory Private Limited. A startup incubated at IIT Guwahati have also received acknowledgement from the Defence Research and Development Organization DRDO for their potential for integration into India's defence infrastructure. The robotic system is designed to operate seamlessly in difficult terrains, ensuring 24/7 surveillance and vigilance. So, it's a big news that is coming up. So, to have a monitoring and surveillance in the borders, AI robots are coming up and the trials are going on. It's a big news that is coming up. Coming back from today's Hindu paper, Supreme Court Collegium recommends transfer of Justice Yashwant Verma. The Supreme Court Collegium on March 24th recommended the government to transfer Justice Yashwant Verma from Delhi High Court to Allahabad High Court, even as a 3-member committee of judges is scheduled to commence in a day or two for a fact-finding inquiry with respect to burning of cash, plenty of cash, sacks of burning currency. It's a big news. The collegium headed by Chief Justice of India Sanjeev Khanna said that the resolution to repatriate Justice Verma to his parent High Court, that is Allahabad High Court, was taken after meetings held on Monday, that is on March 24th. The proposal to transfer Justice Verma was first mooted by Supreme Court Collegium on March 20th, and half-burnt money bags are lying in his house. This is the allegation on him. An inquiry committee is going on. It's a big news that is coming up, which is eroding the trust on Indian judiciary, and this news is still continuing in the newspapers. Coming back, the other important news that is coming up. Maharashtra wants Kunal Kamra's apology for joke on Eknath Shinde. The Maharashtra government said that comedian Kunal Kamra should apologize for comments on Deputy Chief Minister Eknath Shinde during a show, calling it a politically contract act. The Maharashtra government said it would also check his call data records and bank statements to ascertain who is behind Kunal Kamra's comments. A FIR has been registered against stand-up comedian by Shiv Sena MLA under section 353 clause 1B, 353 clause 2 and 356 clause 2 of Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita. So this is a big thing. Kunal Kamra. Indira Gandhi Memorial Tulip Garden, Asia's largest tulip garden in Srinagar. It houses a flowering carpet of 17 lakh tulips of 74 varieties. It houses a flowering carpet of 17 lakh tulips of 74 varieties. The garden is going to welcome the visitors from Wednesday, that is March 26th. Asia's largest tulip garden is in Srinagar. It will be so beautiful. It is like a tulip carpet. 17 lakh tulips of 74 varieties will give a visual treat to the visitors in Srinagar. So the beautiful tulip garden is being ready, and the tulip garden is going to invite the visitors in lakhs to the Srinagar in the next few days. It's a very important news, tulip garden. Okay, have you ever seen that even in videos? So it will be very beautiful. Coming back, Vice President of India, Mr. Jagdeep Dhankar, discusses judicial accountability. Rajya Sabha Chairperson and Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar held a meeting with the leaders of the House and Union Minister JP Nadda and other important officials on judicial accountability against the backdrop of allegations of discovery of sacks of half-burnt currency notes from the Delhi High Court judge residence. Mr. Jagdeep Dhankar said that they decided to wait for the findings of in-house inquiry panel appointed by the Chief Justice of India before moving ahead with the issue. The meeting came in the wake of Mr. Dhankar's recalling the political parties' unprecedented consensual support to the National Judicial Appointments Commission. See, always Jagdeep Dhankar speaks about NJSC. He wants NJSC to come back. National Judicial Appointments Commission. For the appointment of judges, there should be NJSC. You all know that the 99th Constitutional Amendment Act created NJSC, National Judicial Appointments Commission, to appoint the judges of Supreme Court and High Courts and for the transfer of judges of one High Court to other High Court. But the 99th Constitutional Amendment Act was struck down as unconstitutional in 2015 and again collegium method was being followed. He wanted to introduce NJSC again. So, he wanted to call for judicial accountability also. Mr. Jagdeep Dhankar, who was a Vice President of India and Chairman of Rajya Sabha. And one very bad news. Woman jumps from moving train in Secunderabad to escape sexual assault. A 23-year-old woman who is doing a small job, she boarded a train on March 22nd but that too in the ladies compartment. And one man have entered into the train in that compartment around 8 o'clock and suddenly he approached her and started making sexual advances. This woman, to escape from sexual assault, she jumped from the train pathetically. Fearing her safety, she jumped out of moving train and sustained multiple bleeding injuries to her head, chin, right hand and waist. Passerbys who found her in distress immediately altered emergency services and she was shifted to Gandhi Hospital, very close to our place. Following a detailed medical examination, the doctors confirmed that woman has sustained external injuries and she is being treated. But the situation is very bad and union ministers condemned the incident. Kishan Reddy and Bandi Sanjay and other ministers, they all condemned the incident, but in such a big city, women at 8 o'clock who actually sitting in the ladies compartment facing this type of situation is very pathetic. Where we are heading and where we are going. We have a lot of technology, CCTVs, all that. In spite of all these things, how come this could happen? It's a big thing. Big security lapse, safety breach, I can tell. It's a very big thing. Though it's a very small news, we have to read. But because this is Hyderabad. And in this city, in India, there are metropolitan cities where we consider that women can travel in the midnight also. In spite of that, if we see such a situation, it is disastrous and distressing. Coming back, so the news that is coming up too much with respect to truth and transparency, openness in ordering probe against judge should result in accountability too. This is a big news with respect to judicial accountability that is coming up. Chief Justice of India ordered in-house inquiry by 3 judges panel and that inquiry is not enough. Judicial accountability is the need of the day. Judicial accountability is the need of the day. So, people should start trusting the system. System should never fail and system should never see such disastrous incidents. By posting photographs and video clips of burnt currency notes, in the Supreme Court of India's website, the institution has demonstrated rare transparency. The institution has demonstrated rare transparency. So, Supreme Court itself posted the pictures and videographs of the burnt notes and the report given by the Delhi Chief Justice of Delhi High Court. It's a very bad thing. And lessons not learned. Donald Trump in America shut down Department of Education in America. Donald Trump's move to shut down Department of Education is completely irresponsible. It's a reckless move by the Donald Trump government. After targeting the healthcare, pulling the America out of World Health Organization and paralyzing US aid, American President Donald Trump has turned to another cornerstone of the state, education, whose long-term significance to any nation is indisputable. So, the federal department's duty is not to impart education. The Federal Department of Education was shut down in America. It was established in 1979, but now the Department of Education is not in the functional mode in America. He has closed the Federal Department of Education by an executive order. Coming back, the United Nations Environmental Programme's Food Waste Index Report 2024 reveals that in 2022, the world wasted 1.05 billion tons of food, equating to nearly 20% of all food available to the consumers. So, what all food available? We have wasted 20% of the food worldwide, 1.05 billion tons. Alarmingly, India ranks among the top contributors of the global food waste. This is an issue that demands an immediate attention. And mismanagement of food. Food wastage, as defined by the Food Wastage Index report, includes edible and inedible parts of food from supply chain, from manufacturing to restaurants to households. This differs from food loss. Food wastage is differs from food loss. So, the report highlights that India's position as one of the high food wasting countries, seconded by only China. While the per capita household food waste in India is 55 kilograms annually, it is lower than in some countries such as US. In America, per capita food waste household is 73 kgs. In India, it is 55 kgs. India's large population means that this still represents an immense volume of wasted food. కాంపిటేటివ్ ఎగ్జామ్ సంబంధించి ప్రత్యేకంగా సివిల్ సర్వీసెస్ ఎగ్జామ్ సంబంధించి ఏ ఆప్షన్ చూస్ చేసుకోవాలి, ప్రిపరేషన్ ఎప్పుడు స్టార్ట్ చేయాలి, ఏ బుక్స్ రిఫర్ చేయాలి, ఇలాంటి డౌట్స్ ఉంటే CSBIS అకాడమీని కాంటాక్ట్ అవ్వచ్చు. దీనికి సంబంధించి నా పర్సనల్ అపాయింట్మెంట్ ఈ వీడియో పైన డిస్ప్లే అవుతున్న కాంటాక్ట్ నెంబర్కి ఫోన్ చేసి తీసుకోవచ్చు.